7 things that are not the best protein that you can consume. A lot of people are real meat lovers and they love their beef, and that's fine if they do, but what kind of beef are you eating? Are you eating beef from your local grocery store? Are you going to Ruth Chris's where you got this corn-fed beef? Whenever you see beef laced with fat inside of the meat, you know that comes from a feedlot situation. And the feedlot situation is pumping a lot of corn, oftentimes wheat in there. Whenever you start graining your grazing animals, within 1 week, there's a 1,000-fold increase in pathogens that grow inside of the gut. Those pathogens create this huge toxic storm that overwhelms all your detox systems, 3/4 of which are inside the gut. That dumps into the blood supply, overwhelms the liver, goes throughout the entire body, and that dysregulates every metabolic function you can imagine. Your hormones, your inflammation, brain health, every metabolic function that there is. If you get into the grass-fed, grass beef option, it's a whole different thing. Grass-fed, grass-finished grazing animals, their health is pretty much the same as wild game. So if you're a hunter and you like to go out and you hunt big game, it's going to be basically the same as far as health-wise of what's inside of the meat as if you buy some from a local farmer who just raises things grass-fed and grass-finished and doesn't grain them at all. And wild game are commonly going into farmers' fields and grazing away. So you might think that they're not eating grain. Oftentimes they are. I remember working with somebody some time ago, and a bonus hunt opened up where they could get 5 deer tags for a really cheap price. And I said, yes, that might be true, but you live in a major farming area, and the things that they're farming in that area are always farmed with a lot of herbicides and pesticides. You know that the deer that are allowed to be shot in the bonus hunt is because they are damaging the farmer's fields and they need to reduce the deer population. So all the meat that you're going to get from there is as bad as what you get off the counter in the feedlot supply of meat you get in your local grocery store. They were shocked. They were absolutely shocked. They thought they could go do it and get away with it, and they ended up getting a deer, and it was too toxic to eat. That's the reality. So we look at pork, it's the same thing. It completely depends on its food. What is it eating? If it's a typical feedlot thing, they're shoving a lot of corn and other things in there that are laden with herbicides and pesticides. I remember reading something recently about the pork industry in the United States. One of the biggest growers sold out to China. They figured out a way to produce the pork at a fraction of the cost of all the other farms that are out there. And you basically, what they did is they forced the entire pork industry to adopt their toxic growing practices because it was a fraction. I mean, it was less than a quarter of what the standard growing practice was. And that made all the pork really toxic. You look at lamb. There's a big supply of lamb in some of your healthier grocery stores that comes from New Zealand. And we're told that New Zealand lamb is super healthy. That's where all the bone meal comes from for your bone broth. That's where the bones come from to get your hydroxyapatite for calcium to rebuild your bones within the supplement industry. I went to Australia about 1.5 years ago, and I found something out that shocked me. The use of herbicides and pesticides in Australia and New Zealand far surpasses what we use here in the United States. I didn't think anybody did that. Our use Europe's use compared to our use, we're many times what Europe uses, and we use a lot of things that Europe outlaws. New Zealand and Australia's use of herbicides and pesticides compared to us is like Europe compared to us. It's many, many, many times more toxic. So the lamb that comes from New Zealand is grazing on fields that are oversprayed with herbicides and pesticides, and the meat's really toxic. We didn't know why we were finding that meat to be toxic until I ran across this a while ago, and it was shocking. It was really shocking. So it's not chicken either. You look at the poultry industry. So that's chicken and turkey primarily that people get. The whole poultry industry is run off of the commodity market. They buy the cheapest grains that they can find on the commodity market when they need new feed to supply their stores. And they got calculators so they can figure out any kind of combination that's available. They can just punch it into their calculators to find out how much they need of different things to balance other the feed out. So when corn becomes the cheapest thing and the only way to reproduce it, a grower that had really good clean products, all of a sudden as you corn, you're not warned about that, and it becomes a big problem. So we look at all of these. The only way you can know the growing practices is if you buy it from the local grower. The best place to find local growers is usually at a farmer's market. And you can find out who local growers are. You can call them up, go over there, you can visit them and talk to them about growing practices. It's all about the feed, what they're giving their feed. And there's a new herbicide used in the hay industry called Grazon. Grazon is so toxic of an herbicide that if people take the manure from the cattle or the animals that eat fields sprayed with Grazon, that manure will sterilize people's growing beds for 20 plus years. They become totally unfruitful. And that's something that's been up and in the know circles in just recent years. This wasn't the case that I can remember 5 years ago. This is the last few. And it's really, really, really huge. So even if the chickens are out free range, true free range, in lush places that are full of grass and all kinds of plants they can eat and bugs they can scratch up, where the lamb's out on good, pristine pastures, or the pork, or the beef, or the goat, it's still not the best protein. So then we look at seafood. We look at salmon. A lot of the fish that's in the grocers is farmed. They put it in caged in places in waterways, whether that's freshwater or seawater. They grow whatever they're growing so they can't escape, and they feed them whatever they're going to feed them. Most of the feedlots for fish have the same growing problems that they have for the feedlots for cattle. And that's they supplement it with corn and all these other toxic things as the cheapest food supply. And that makes those fish really toxic. So then you look at wild caught. Wild caught is only possibility of getting clean fish, but where is it wild caught? If you get wild caught in American waters, it's probably really wild caught. If it's come from Asian or another place, it's probably not. And we've just tested too many supplies of seafood. Whether you're talking salmon, cod, halibut, haddock is one of the best seafoods out there. It's one of the lower costs. It's a really firm fish. It's got a really good flavor. And that's what fish and chips used to use for their whole line of stores where they made fish and chips. And I don't even know if that chain is still around at all, but that was a British makeover from over here. And they always had malted vinegar on the table, and that made everything taste better, but it's still deep fried, and that's not good. So true, more likely in American waters, is likely to be cleaner, but it's still not the highest quality protein that there is. Then we look at beans and rice. The idea of vegetable proteins mixed in with a diet is the healthiest choice we have. And you can have some really, really high quality proteins that way. Beans and corn is more common in Central and South America, beans and rice in the rest of the world. The problem with the beans and corn, Central and South America, they use the same growing practices that we use over here, and they spray their cornfields with atrazine and Roundup, and you just don't have good sources of corn. And the indigenous peoples in Central and South America, they always soak their corn in lye to release the nutrients. They don't do that commercially anymore, but to really get the nutrition out of corn, you've got to do that, and that's not done. So that's not really a good staple anymore. But the cultures that do beans and rice, you got a whole bunch better chance of that being really healthy. I talked to somebody recently who was Asian, who had a fair amount of rice in their diet, was white rice. And you never want to buy white anything. You need, when it's white rice, there's 4 layers of a grain. There's outside shuck with the feathers on it, and the feathers catch the wind, so the seeds deposit far away from the plant, and that's how it naturally replants itself. That gets taken off when it's not for seed or for animal feed. So inside of the shuck is an aileron layer that seals the grain off so that oxygen and the elements can't get inside unless it's exposed for water for a long time, and then it starts the germination process. So the aileron layer keeps everything from oxidizing on the inside, keeps it from spoiling on the inside, and inside in a small area is the germ that is actually the embryo of the new plant. And all the rest is the endosperm or the starch to feed that embryo. Whenever you're going to do any kind of grains, you want to have whole grain, which is the aileron layer, the germ's still there, and the endosperm or the starch is still there. You can't buy true whole grain flour at a grocery store that's not refrigerated or in the freezer section, because the oils and the germs start to go rancid within 3 hours of the aileron layer being cracked. So I made my own flour for probably 40 years, somewhere close to that. And I always make flour, grind up like 3 gallons at a time. I always store mine in Ziploc bags in the freezer, and I use silicone bags. The hefty storage bags only clean the Ziploc-like bag you can get. Ziplocs are toxic. Most of the manufacturers are really toxic. The hefty storage, not their freezer, their storage is the only clean one that we've found over the years. So even if you take legumes and you cook them yourself, make them the healthiest, and you combine those with a really good clean rice, that's still not the best protein that's out there. The best protein is actually the egg, but that depends on what they feed it with. Years ago, there was a major egg production farm close by where I used to live, and when the wind blew the wrong way, you could smell it, and it stunk quite a bit. which most poultry farms really will. But their eggs were some of the cheapest in the area, and they produce both white and brown eggs. And I just assumed those things would be really toxic. We tested those eggs. They're some of the cleanest you could find at some of the lowest cost. And that really surprised me. But it was the integrity of the growers that did that. It's the feed that they feed the chickens that the eggs come from. And you got quail eggs, you have duck eggs. Same thing applies to all the eggs that are out in production out there, whether you're talking the designer eggs that are insane prices or chicken eggs that aren't. It's all about the feed, and all that's determined by the commodity market. So virtually all your commercial growers, big ones, are going to be having their food supply determined by the commodity market when they need more food. And you look at these great big huge barns, and they'll have maybe tens of thousands of chickens growing in these things. They're all managed by companies, the ones like growing the chickens. The owner of the farm just builds a barn and rents it to these people. The owners aren't even allowed to go in their own barn. It's a hands off, closed eyes. They have their own people come in and manage everything. That's pretty scary. That's really, really scary. I don't know if egg production is quite that bad, but I do know it all is determined by the feed that's there. And if they rotate from the commodity market prices, the corn and wheat products, it's usually those that create a problem. Then peas can be another issue. Soy, if it's GMO and sprayed with herbicides, that can do it too. The ones with integrity, they don't change that. And you can only find those things out from a local grower. You can't find that out from a commercial grower. So the thing with eggs, they've got the healthiest balance of protein. It's what all other proteins are measured off of. And it also has choline, and choline is really important for brain health, for neurotransmitter development. It helps build healthy cell membranes, which we all need healthy cell membranes. We can't build those without choline. It also helps transport fats out of the liver, so you don't get the fatty liver infiltration. There's a really big problem with non-alcoholic fatty liver problems. I saw a recent case with that, and it was mind-blowing what went on with that. But it's also very, very important for energy. We cover way more than this in our nutritional program. It's got a link down below, and if you really want to take your diet into your own hands and be able to manage that in a practical, functional way, get the tools to understand what a healthy diet is, what all the parts are, what all the jobs are they need to do, what foods actually create intolerance issues, how to substitute those, and not change your whole diet, not count calories, and not have all these charts, but to understand all the basic principles so you're at liberty to manage your own health through your own diet and lifestyle ways. We have that in that program. Click the link below, because we're just releasing this program just this week. It's been a long time in developing. It's the foundation of everything we've used to do phenomenal things with people's health for 4 decades. So click link below. We'll see you there. Thanks. Have an awesome day. Bye.